Think dinosaurs were the strangest creatures to ever walk the earth? Think again. Imagine a prehistoric fish with armor plating, a flying reptile with the head of a pelican and the beak of a swordfish, or a worm so nightmarish it looks like something out of a horror movie. Today, we're counting down the top 8 bizarre ancient creatures you've never heard of. Stick around because our number 1 pick is so mind-blowingly weird, it will change how you see prehistoric life forever. Let's dive in. Starting off at number 8, imagine a creature so bizarre, it looks like an alien straight out of a sci-fi movie. Meet Opabinia, one of the strangest creatures you've never heard of. This little weirdo lived over 500 million years ago in the Cambrian period, back when life on Earth was just getting started. And trust me, this thing was built different. First off, it had 5 eyes. Yeah, you heard that right. 5. Scientists still aren't sure why, but it probably helped Opabinia see predators coming from all angles. But wait, it gets even weirder. Instead of a mouth on its face, it had a long, flexible trunk with a claw at the end. It used this to snatch up food and stuff it into its backwards-facing mouth. Its body looked like a swimming centipede, with flapping lobes on the sides, helping it glide through ancient seas like some freaky underwater spaceship. Sadly, Opabinia didn't stick around, but its fossils have puzzled scientists for over a century. When they first discovered it, paleontologists literally laughed at how weird it looked, thinking it had to be a mistake. So next time you think nature is strange, just remember, Opabinia was out here rocking 5 eyes and a grabby trunk way before it was cool. Coming up next at number 7, imagine a time when the ocean was like an alien world, full of creatures that look straight out of a sci-fi movie. Meet Anomalocaris, the bizarre shrimp-faced predator of the Cambrian seas. This thing lived over 500 million years ago and was the king of the ocean before sharks were even a thing. Its name means abnormal shrimp, but trust me, this was no ordinary seafood. With 2 spiky, claw-like arms, it would snatch up its prey, probably trilobites, like a real-life monster from the deep. And its circular, razor-toothed mouth, perfect for crunching through armor. But here's where it gets even weirder. Anomalocaris had huge, alien-like compound eyes with over 16,000 lenses. That's better vision than a dragonfly, meaning this thing could spot dinner from far away. And guess what? It didn't just float around. It was one of the first super-fast swimmers, using its flexible body like a modern squid. Basically, this was the ultimate prehistoric ocean predator. For years, scientists actually thought it was 3 different animals. Its mouth, claws, and body were all found separately until they put the pieces together. So next time you think of terrifying sea monsters, forget sharks. Anomalocaris was the OG nightmare of the deep. Next up, at number 6, imagine walking through a prehistoric forest, and suddenly, a giant, 6-foot-long centipede crawls past you. Meet Arthropleura, one of the largest arthropods to ever live. This nightmare fuel existed 300 million years ago in the Carboniferous period. Back then, oxygen levels were way higher, allowing insects and creepy crawlies to grow massive. But don't freak out, Arthropleura wasn't a predator. Nope. Despite looking like it crawled straight out of your worst nightmare, this giant millipede was an herbivore, munching on ferns and decaying plants. And get this, fossilized track marks show that it could move fast, slithering through ancient forests like a tank on legs. So why did this giant bug vanish? Well, when the Earth's climate changed and oxygen levels dropped, Arthropleura simply couldn't survive. So next time you see a little centipede, just remember, millions of years ago, its cousin could have been the size of a small car. Would you survive these bugs? Up next at number 5, imagine a creature so weird, scientists weren't even sure which way it walked. Meet Hallucigenia, a tiny, alien-looking beast from 500 million years ago. This thing looked like something straight out of a fever dream. It had 7 pairs of spiky legs, or were they tentacles? And 3 extra pairs of tentacle-like appendages, or were those its legs? Scientists were so confused, they originally reconstructed it upside down. Imagine a walking spaghetti noodle with needle-like spikes on its back for protection, creeping along the ocean floor like some deep-sea horror movie villain. Oh, and its head? Scientists couldn't even find it at first. Turns out, it had a teeny tiny mouth with a ring of teeth and a throat lined with even more teeth, because you know, why not? Hallucigenia belonged to a group called Lobopodians, early ancestors of today's velvet worms. But here's the crazy part. This bizarre creature almost went extinct, but instead, its descendants live on in forests today. So next time you see a velvet worm squirting slime at its prey, just remember, it's got some Hallucigenia DNA in it. So was Hallucigenia a creepy crawly nightmare, or just nature's funniest mistake? Halfway there. At number 4, imagine a fish, but make it a tank. Meet Dunkleosteus, the 30-foot-long prehistoric nightmare that ruled the oceans 360 million years ago. This beast didn't have teeth. Nope. It had self-sharpening bone plates that worked like a giant built-in guillotine. It could bite with a force of over 8,000 pounds per square inch, strong enough to slice through anything, armor, bone, even its own kind. Yep, it was so terrifying that other Dunkleosteus were probably its favorite snack. Talk about hardcore. Living in the Devonian period, also known as the Age of Fish, this armored predator dominated the seas before sharks even got their big break. But here's the mystery. Scientists think Dunkleosteus was so heavy and bulky that it probably couldn't chase prey. Instead, it used vacuum suction, snapping its jaws in milliseconds to literally inhale its victims. 1 second you're swimming, next second, gone. And just when you thought it couldn't get weirder, its bony head was so tough, it's one of the few parts that fossilized. So we have no idea what the rest of its body really looked like. Could it have had a shark tail? A sea monster body? Tentacles? Okay, probably not, but still. So next time you think Jaws is scary, remember Dunkleosteus, the original oceanic nightmare. Next up at number 3, imagine a dinosaur with the claws of Freddy Krueger, the body of a giant turkey, and the appetite of a vegetarian. Meet Therizinosaurus, one of the weirdest prehistoric creatures ever. This 33-foot-long, 5-ton beast lived in the late Cretaceous period, about 70 million years ago. But instead of being a ferocious predator, it was an herbivore. Yep, those massive 3-foot-long claws, they weren't for hunting. They were for stripping leaves off trees, like a prehistoric Edward Scissorhands. Think of it as the sloth meets dinosaur hybrid that nobody saw coming. Scientists believe those huge claws also helped it defend itself against hungry predators like Tarbosaurus. And here's the crazy part. When paleontologists first found its claws in the 1950s, they thought they belonged to a giant turtle. A turtle! It took decades to figure out just how bizarre this creature really was. So, if you thought dinosaurs were just giant lizards with sharp teeth, think again. Therizinosaurus proves that nature loves a weird design. Would you be brave enough to meet one in the wild? Coming up next, at number 2, meet Jacalopterus, the giant sea scorpion that once ruled the prehistoric waters. This nightmare fuel was over 8 feet long, making it one of the largest arthropods to ever exist. Yeah, imagine a lobster the size of a kayak coming at you. Now, don't worry, these guys went extinct over 400 million years ago, but if they were still around, let's just say swimming wouldn't be so relaxing anymore. They were apex predators, armed with massive clawed pincers, perfect for grabbing fish, or anything unlucky enough to be in the way. Scientists even think they used their claws like prehistoric spears, because why just grab your prey when you can stab it first? And those eyes? Absolute high-tech for their time. With super advanced vision, they could spot prey in murky waters long before anything even knew they were there. Think of it as shark vision, but on a scorpion. And at last but not least, meet Tullimonstrum, or as it's better known, the Tully monster, a creature so weird that scientists still don't know exactly what it was. This bizarre, eel-like creature lived 300 million years ago in what is now Illinois. But here's where things get really strange. It had no bones, a torpedo-shaped body, tiny stalked eyes sticking out like a cartoon, and get this, a long extendable trunk with a jaw at the end. Imagine a squid, a slug, and a vacuum cleaner merged into one. That's the Tully monster. For years, experts scratched their heads. Was it a fish, a worm, an alien? Some studies claim it was related to lampreys, those creepy, toothy vampire fish. But honestly, no one's 100% sure. Tully monster fossils are only found in one place, the Mason Creek fossil beds in Illinois. So if you find one, congrats, you've discovered pure prehistoric weirdness. Is it a missing link, an evolutionary mistake, or something totally unique?